in Podcast Detroit, recording live. Prepare yourself for a hoppy drive. If you're chilling at home, pop that crowler and just kick back for the next 2 hours. It's the end of the week, so here's to the weekend. It's Better on Draft with Rob, Matt, Nick, and Ken.
And we are live, episode 148 Better on Draft podcast. My name is Ken. In studio today is a very light studio, but we are live on Facebook every single Friday night. Facebook Live. If you go to betterondraft.com facebook.com/betterondraft, you can find us every Friday night, 7 p.m. Check us out. Matthew, how are you doing?
I'm well, Kenneth. How are you?
I should probably unmute you. There you go. Let's try that again.
I'm well, Kenneth. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. What are you drinking over there?
Well, I'm sitting on a White Claw, the hard seltzer, the ruby grapefruit, if you will. Kind of just keeping it light. Still kind of recovering from what you guys put me through on Saturday.
Yeah, we definitely hit a little hard on Saturday. Again on Sunday, and Sunday night I lost my voice at the Lions game for sure.
You sent me like 5 snaps in a row of a Little John concert.
Yes, there was a Little John concert.
So I'm going to need like a minute 30 of my life back from you.
Well, I mean, snaps are only 10 seconds long, so that would be 50 seconds.
Okay, I'm going to need 50 seconds of your life. Just put it right here. I might have you like go start my car or something like that.
Yeah? Okay.
Well, no, I can't because it's electronic push to start. But
What? Okay.
Oh, God.
Took him a minute. Rob, what's going on?
Oh, geez, just another Friday, chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, something like that.
Is this in West Detroit you were born and raised?
Technically, yeah.
Fair. What are you drinking over there?
Something I actually just picked up on the way here. I got the Great Divide Woodworks, a brown rye ale. That is aged in 10-year rye whiskey barrels for 13 months.
You're going to want to give me just a little taster of that, please, and thank you.
Hand that on down.
That's definitely something that just that's enough. That's plenty. Thank you. It's that whole keto stuff. Like I got to be very, very cautious. I'm drinking, as usual, my Diet Vernors.
God damn it, Ken. Get off my Kool-Aid or my jam.
Well, there's no Sprite Zero here, so I got to do Diet Vernors and whiskey. So.
Can we put that request in so you can stop hogging all the Diet Vernors?
I mean, I probably could. Hopefully we can get that into the studio for sure, but I will just drink my Diet Vernors and whiskey, Maker's Mark today. As opposed to random Skull whiskey that's in the decanter out there that I don't know what it is.
No DCD?
I don't think they had DCD whiskey out there.
Are you going to head out to Ann Arbor, get the tip-ins to get the Brews Brothers edition of the Knob Creek?
No, I'm probably just going to, for home, go to Zatuna Liquor over on Rochester Hills, just south of M59 on Rochester Road. Go check out Jack, grab some whiskey. Big whiskey selection there. He's got a lot of local...
3 minutes.
Hey, Jack's a friend of the show. We love him over here.
That's a good plug.
So, in studio today from the United Shore Professional Baseball League, Jeremiah...
Yep.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. So what is your position over at that area? Because it seems like there's a lot more since it's Jimmy John's Field, United Shore Professional. Where are you?
I am the vice president of client services, so I work with a lot of the corporate sponsors, and a majority of our corporate sponsors are dealing with working with our craft beer garden and the different beers that we have and liquor. So I have that privilege, but it's nice to work for a league and a company that, General Sports Entertainment, we own United Shore Professional Baseball League, Jimmy John's Field, and all 4 teams. So we control all that area, under one umbrella, which is really nice because, you talk to, anyone else that works in a professional league, there's the league rules and there's individual team owners, and they have to have their meetings and everything has to go through. So whenever you add something or want to make changes, it takes a time, and having one person that we report to being Andy Appleby, our owner and CEO, it makes it a lot easier because if we want to come up with something or if he comes up with his own ideas, which he's always doing every year, it makes it a lot easier to make that happen because it just has to go through him. So it's a pretty nice setup that we have going, and it keeps growing. After the first year, they added a fourth team, to make to have four teams, added a team, and now we're looking at breaking ground for a second field, within the next year or so, to add, really to make it so we can have two games going on the same night, instead of having four teams play at one field. So it's a good area to be in, and I talked to Jack a lot, as you mentioned, over at Zatuna. So he's a great guy, and he's just down the road from where our headquarters is in Rochester, right above Rochester Mills, where I just came from with their Oktoberfest. So
yeah, did you bring us any Oktoberfest?
I wish I could have. I really should have thought about that before, but they were only giving them in cups there, so I only had tickets. They were polite enough to give us, people that work in the building, some tickets to come down and enjoy the fest tonight. So it was pretty fun.
So when you see you guys are going to expand, are you guys going to expand still within the metro area? I know there was some talks of going to West Michigan. Is there kind of a thought process through this whole thing?
Yeah, for the second field, we really would, or second ballpark, we'd like to stay in like the west of Metro Detroit area. So, that Novi, Farmington Hills, Canton area over that way, maybe Ann Arbor, the farthest west that we've looked at. But there are cities that are interested out of state. There are cities in Colorado and in Missouri, that are interested. So, but for our sake, it would be nice to have the second field within,
So we're talking like the
distance.
275, 96
kind
of corridor.
Yeah, because then it's, for the headquarters being in Rochester, it's something we can still control, in a day's drive to go to the Novi, that area, and still have two games going on at the same time, where it's not flying back and forth to make something happen. Because we really we control everything, from the ground up on a day. So it's on a game day. So it's really nothing's really outsourced. So adding the second field is going to take a lot. So we need to make sure that that's in the right location.
Have you guys? I always thought that downriver would be an area like a Wyandotte Monroe, and you would bring that Toledo traffic up, because I thought there was almost talk about there being groups or teams in that area that wanted to be part of the action when you guys initially started.
I'm sure there is. The downriver really hasn't been something that we've seen on our list. Andy has his list that he's looking at. I know that it's been more targeted west, but I'm sure if the right city came up with the right plan and the good area of land, I'm sure we could make it happen. It's still, to be honest with you, it's still in discussion. So we don't. Myself, Scott McDonald, our VP for marketing and promotions, the people Nate, Dave. We don't know where we're going next. That's what I think that's the thing that's special about Andy is he keeps us on our toes, because it could be tomorrow that he comes up and just says, gives us a call like, hey, we're breaking ground here on this date. And it's like, whoa, okay. So, which is nice, but it does keep us on our toes.
Now, bringing you into what we do, what has been the beverage side of the USPBL? What has that been entailing? Had that been something that you've done before, Jimmy John's Field?
Personally, yes, but no, to be honest with you, I've worked in college athletics the last 15, 20 years of my life, and so on the alcohol side, no. And it's in my first week working with the USPBL, it was meeting with Powers, and then Petiprin, and that really woke me up. Like, okay, I'm working in pro sports now. We're talking, we're talking beer and liquor, and so it's that's something you didn't talk about a lot. You did in college when you were a college student, but you didn't when you're working in that, because you're not serving that at your field or your
well,
gym.
that's starting to change now. There are a lot of fields that are starting to accept alcohol, or sell alcohol, I should say, And I think a lot of them are doing it, and you might have a better idea, but to curtail the binge drinking outside of the stadium. Is that, am I on the same wavelength as to the reason why we're seeing this a lot more, or is it just because it's such a huge money maker that you just kind of have to these days?
A little bit of yes to both.
Okay.
I mean, money's definitely included in that, and that will always catch the school presidents and the AD's eyes. When you're throwing out a lot of money, and especially the NCAA if they can get their hands on it. But yeah, I mean, I worked at Colgate University in Central New York for 6 years, and the one thing
they wrote Super Troopers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. That's nice. But Syracuse was the big draw, in the Carrier Dome. But the Carrier Dome always got away with they would serve beer during men's lacrosse games, football games, whatever, because the Carrier Dome was actually a separate entity. That was its own little business going on that hosted all these events for Syracuse.
Okay.
And so it would be like, if Michigan just played all their games at Ford Field, Ford Field would be like, okay, well, we're going to make money off this, so.
Like bowl games.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they sell beer at bowl games.
Yeah. So there was that, I mean, there's always been, those little, and it's really, I don't know how much the NCAA's controlled on that, but a lot of schools and universities have been, really against it, serving alcohol. But if you go back, I mean, I used to I'd work in sports information, and we would be the ones that made the media guides, that kind of stuff. And you'd look back at the archives, and there used to be, like every media guide you'd look at, there'd be a Marlboro ad and a Coors Light ad or a Coors ad or a Budweiser ad.
Right.
And, so, I mean, that was something that was always bringing in money, and I think, in the, after the 80s into the 90s, there was some change in the NCAA and with the university saying, okay, I think we're giving too much beer and cigarettes to our students here. It's leading to a party bill, but no, it's sort of going back to that. I mean, just because that's part of the, that's something that the fans enjoy. I mean, even if they weren't selling it there when we were students, we were drinking beforehand. That brought on the tailgates, and that would be one of the downsides, though. When you go to a Syracuse football game, they're running a lot of tailgates. I mean, they didn't have to. I mean, they could go in the Carrier Dome and drink in there. So it's that little catch. I mean, what do you want? You want people tailgating and camping out, 10 hours before your game, or a big Michigan game where I went to Pioneer, and I mean, growing up, I mean, we'd have people showing up at Tuesday, with their campers for a game on Saturday, so I mean, it gets crazy, but it's, what do you want? Do you want those fans, or do you want to, serve directly in your stadium?
So we do have a comment from the Facebook group, as we are live on facebook.com/Better on Draft. Kevin DeVries.
Kevin. There you go.
Funny. I just saw that guy.
Wants you to answer the question, how much you love Founders. So are you a big Founders guy, or does he just want you to be a kiss ass?
No, he knows I'm a big Founders guy, and and he's probably saying that because of the bar that I just finished in my basement. The only sign I had was the Founders one, so I put it on the front. But if anyone else wants to donate, to my bar in the basement, I'm more than willing to put that out. But
so you're selling Kevin up the river.
Wow.
But no, Kevin's a great guy. I've met him a few years back, and he's been great to work with. Him and Alex. Founders, they've been with the league since day one, and it's been going really good. The craft beer garden's been excellent for them, and for us, and for the 5 others that we have in the craft beer garden. Everyone's gone up, and so in serving, so it's been really good. But no, I'm growing, or not really growing up, but going to Fair State and hanging out over in West Michigan for over 10 years. You always have a little bit of Founders with you.
So what are the 6 beers that you have in your craft beer garden?
Oh, put me on the spot. Founders, Midland, Brooks, Sherwood, New Belgium.
Founders, Sherwood, Brooks, New Belgium.
Did I say Midland?
Midland. It's 5.
Who am I leaving out?
Is it Sherwood? No,
it's at Sherwood.
Is it Blake's?
Blake's hard cider. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, how does
Now I'm going to get in trouble with Blake's. Chelsea's going to give me a call.
Damn it, Aaron. So, do you have one that pours the best, like that is sells like way better than the rest of them, or?
I can't really say. I think with what we do with the craft beer garden now, it helps balance it out. We have a beer batter of the game, and so we select one batter, one player, and every time he comes up to his first 3 at bat. So if it's in the first, the third, the fifth inning, it changes. So there'll be 2 different craft beers in the first inning, 2 different his second at bat, 2 different his third at bat, and I sort of have it memorized. That's what I should have remembered. It was like the fans would really go crazy more off the third one. They'd want him to get a hit his third at bat because there was always New Belgium Founders, at the end. But either way, it would give you a 16-ounce beer for $5. And there were times, and because we were doing pretty good with Founders, there were times where we had KBS, CBS on tap, and you could get a 16-ounce for $5. I mean, fans are going nuts, So, so there was, but everyone, it was pretty much a win-win. We would win because we're sending fans to our craft beer garden, but then the breweries are winning because they're drinking more of their beer, so we're ordering more kegs. So I mean, it was really an excellent idea that Dana came up with, our COO, about after the first month of the season. The craft beer garden officially opened on May 11th, which was our opening day. I mean, we had just finished it, so it was like this was all new to us. On what are we going to do with this? And then after May came. We went through May, she's like, how about we, draw some more attention to it, and made that part of it, and the fans just loved it. And so that helped, I think, increase sales for all 6 that we have.
And you guys have a pretty strong spirits program too, don't you?
Yeah, with, there's Tito's over there.
And they're doing that on draft as well, right?
At the Tito's, yeah. Yeah, for Tito's. And the strange thing is, like, I wish Nate was here, because he's the man that can answer that. He doesn't drink anymore, apparently, but he's the man that handles all that on the ordering and the setup. Him and Dave are excellent at that. But the liquor in the AAA clubhouse. I mean, everything really increased this year, which is really good.
So we're going to be co-hosting the third annual Fall Beer Fest, kind of? Is that what we call it?
Brew and Fall Fest.
Brew and Fall Fest.
Yes.
So what have been the response for the first 2 like?
From my understanding, it keeps growing. Last year, it was growing really well, but Mother Nature jumped in, and it was a fall downpour all day, but there were still over 500 that showed up. A good turnout, especially with the disc golfers. They were out there playing, and they're crazy, so they enjoy it. But it was this year we've already pretty much met those numbers. We're looking to double what we did last year, and I think we can. But that would but then we've also probably doubled the number of breweries that we've had out from the first year, which is good. We're at about 30. This year, and it's really nice, and it's a big change up. I mean, you have some mead, with we have Sourmans coming and
Bee Nectar,
and then then there's some that are coming out, with some of their Oktoberfest. I know Rochester Mills, where I was just at, they're going to be out there. I mean, they sort of have to. They're attached to us, that's where our home office is, But no, it's really nice. Odd Side's coming out. Old Nation's bringing Boss Tweed and M43 out. So I mean, there's gonna be a wide selection of different craft beer out there.
Right on. Now, is there a favorite craft beer that you have? Is there a beer that you always typically go for when you're shopping?
It depends on the type of what type of year, time of year. Right now, I'll be honest with you, the New England IPAs, I'm just trying them all.
Sure.
And really going out there. M43 is really good.
You don't say.
If you haven't heard. Boss
Breaking
Tweed.
news, dude.
It's kind of big.
Yeah.
Kind of big.
Yeah, but it's new to me. I don't know. I was one of those guys. I've always liked the stouts, and so like KBS, and then when CBS came out last year.
Yeah, how did you guys get
2017.
CBS of all places? Do you guys
Amazing pull.
Do you
right
have
there.
pictures of Kevin somewhere?
in full Mountie uniform?
Yeah. Now, was I not bringing the Mountie back this year? You
Yeah,
guys haven't
no,
talked
I'm
about
a
that?
little,
I mean,
I'm a little weirded out by that,
there.
which is like a bucking horse with no Mountie on
Yeah,
it.
Kevin, we need answers for that, sir.
Apparently, Canada was not very happy about the portrayal of a Mountie. I don't know.
Are they pulling the whole Kentucky thing?
I think they were just, if you don't mind, can you just get rid of that guy off of the bottle? We'd appreciate it, please.
But it's Canada.
Yeah, it's Canada. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Merci.
No, but no, I mean that's where I started more in the stouts, and then I wasn't so much on the hoppy side, for a while, and then it was funny. My brother-in-law texted me about a month ago when I had Boss Tweed over at Las Palapas in Plymouth or Livonia on Plymouth Road, and I was like, that's pretty good. And he's like, hey, welcome to the hoppier side of life, and so that really started it, but no, I'm enjoying all sorts of different flavors right now, and it's really a good life.
How long was CBS on tap at the ballpark?
Honestly, it lasted
half an inning.
No, it went for about 4 games, and I think the problem was
2 weekends then, or is it like
one whole weekend?
Okay.
And because we have games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we put it when we got it, and we were like, well, we should probably tap into this right away, for this weekend. Well, then it happened to be like 95 degrees out all weekend, and it just wasn't a good mix for,
I could imagine. Could you imagine waiting till the end of the season, then tapping the KBS or the CBS, just saying, "Hey, we found a barrel of CBS, and let's get rid of it." You might have had some people just show up,
right?
Not even for the baseball.
Yeah, no, it was a shock. And then when we actually had our last weekend, our championship weekend, we got better half. We got the better half, and that was an unexpected show up. I actually I texted Alex that night, and I'm like, "Did you know this was coming?" It was like, "Yeah, it was a good year for you, So congratulations." And I was like, "All right, we'll tap into it." So that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we had better half on tap to close out the season for the championship weekend.
I'm curious how you can compete against like bars and stuff who have such a constant rotation of people inside, because you guys are only open 4 days out of the week and only for that time period. Like, how do you guys manage your continuous sales? Because obviously, there's going to be bars who are listening to like, I can't even get CBS, and I'm a full bar. So like, how do you get more people into your stadium other than for the 4 games a week?
Yeah, that's a great question, but it also goes into how our field really operates, where we have a Disney-like experience there for our games. And it's interesting when I go and I talk to sponsors, it's really letting them know if they have never been to the field, one, to check it out, because
Harry Canary's wild.
Yeah, we have a lot of other different events going on throughout the game. And then sometimes you forget about it, and it's like, oh yeah, we have a professional baseball game going on too. If you want to watch baseball, we have the whole kids zone area with the speed pitch, the wiffle ball field, which I wish they would have had 30 years ago when I was a kid. And I would have loved to play on a wiffle ball field instead of my street, dodging cars. But
right.
It's we have that going on for the kids, and we have the whole food court going on in right field, left field with the craft beer garden, the Chevy Pavilion, and then we bring in different events. If we're going to have live bands, if we're going to have, our Thirsty Thursdays, which are based around for like the college students, they can bring in their IDs, get a koozie, and save money on beer. We have unlimited wings that night. I mean,
I wanted to bring that up.
Unlimited wings.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes.
$15 for a tall boy of Bud Light or Budweiser, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all you can eat chicken wings.
Yes.
So have you not had like horror stories because of this? Because this just seems like it's just headed for destruction.
And it's been nothing but success. And I tell you, it's the strangest thing where you think, you do something like that. I went to Ferris State for undergrad. You do something like that at shooters, and it's going to be all chaos. But here it's a peaceful ballpark. It's family oriented, and people come there and they enjoy the game and make their trips up. You don't even see that big of a line for the wings, but we go through a ton. Is
there a winner for most wings eaten? Because this is the first year.
That just sounds like just just basically a wing eating contest.
We do have a good agreement with Beaumont, so if we wanted to do that, we're okay. We've had hot dog and what did we have?
I know you had a bratwurst.
We had the bratwurst one, yeah, when we had the Polish night, I think it was. So we've done those. We haven't done the wing yet, but I'm sure that's going through our marketing.
Think someone would just take it upon themselves on all-you-can-eat wing night to eat as many wings as they physically could until they're like bleeding buffalo sauce.
Right. I can't say no one's done that yet, but we haven't had to help anyone out. So, I mean, they were still moving on their own on the way out.
I suppose that's the thing that matters, right?
Right.
Get them off the property so there's no more liability.
And they want to come back, and everyone's enjoying it. But no, it's this year's been a blast. It really has, in all the different events we go on, and just thinking that we're really just at the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more we can do.
Is there a moment that you can think of off the top of your head where you just kind of like scanned like where you were with the ballpark and just said, it doesn't get any better than this?
Yeah, one of our Fridays where there's a funny story behind this. We were honoring a fire chief that night, and actually for the state of Michigan. And I'm out holding the flag. We always have, the giant flag in center field that we do for the national anthem. And I'm standing next to him, and we're walking out with the flag, and I'm looking around, and we had seats in the right field, right by the wall. We had seats in our stage in right field. We had cabana or Adirondack chairs set up in the grass. Because we were packed beyond belief. We were over 4,000 fans coming in. We can hold in the ballpark of 3,500, with the grassy knoll being filled, and we had sold 4,000 plus. And wow. And I'm standing next to the fire chief and the fire marshal, and I went, man, it's unbelievable that we can only hold about 3,000. We're going to have over 4,000 people in here. And he looked at me and I went, I just told the wrong person, didn't I? And he goes, that's okay. He said, we're having a blast here tonight too. So, but it was funny. But yeah, that was a Friday night, and our Friday nights this year were off the charts. We had numerous Friday nights where we were right around 4,000 fans, where we had to add seats for them for the standing room only, and when we'd get that moment where we could stop and actually look around and go, wow, we're doing something right. It would hit you, but it's a good feeling to have.
So how has beer grown at the park year over year? Like, do you know how many, so let's say, cases you did in 2017 versus this past year? Approximately, maybe?
That I don't know. The only thing I do know is that we had a good increase this year, and I would say most of that coming from the craft beer garden and what we did pushing it forward. I don't know the exact numbers on that, but when I have vendors come up to us and if I'm talking to Alex or Kevin and they're like, hey, you guys are tapping into our top 20. That's saying a lot, especially where they're at, with Founders and with New Belgium and Brooks. Everyone at the end of the year is extremely happy. That's saying a lot. Because we found a way to sell their product. And the more that we're buying from them and we're pushing it out, and that's all we want to do.
Right on.
This Allison's really good.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think this is better than M43. This is
Hot
going to be
take.
my
Hot take.
unpopular opinion.
You know, is this some sort of retribution for you failing in the which M43
No.
am I drinking?
You know,
Because I did see that video, and there was a whole lot of
I did fail.
You know, just really trying to analyze with your phone flashlight, looking at the color, commenting about the carbonation, you know, this and that, and then you just ended up getting it wrong, which,
Yeah.
you know, it's 50-50. I mean,
Yeah.
if it was that tough to tell, then, you know, that...
So the conversation Mark and I had previous was that the biggest issue between M43 in Williamston and M43 in Detroit was the water conditions in Detroit are so good that, and in Williamston, they have to treat the water so much that they're adding things into the water or to like take them back out in Detroit. So like if you don't live in Detroit, we have like some of the cleanest water like from the tap in the world.
Except in our schools right now.
Yeah. Yeah, go figure. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's because that's where Jimmy Hoffa's buried.
Yeah, exactly.
All the schools.
but in Williamston, they're
Cut up
working
in many pieces.
Yes.
they're working with like still country well water. So they have to over treat it to get it to a place where it needs to drink. So there's a lot less treating of the water in Detroit. So what Mark told me was one of the things about M43 that you get from that beer and no others is there's a back end of it that's still part of the buffering agent, the cleaning or that water flavoring agent to make it right, and they couldn't find that flavor or make it in Detroit. So that was the conversation.
So the key ingredient is contaminated water?
Less treated water.
You're
maybe.
the only one who was picking that up.
So I get two tasters, and one is super heady, and one has almost no head at all, and then one is all bubbly and carbonated, and one is flat.
No, I saw the video. It definitely,
So-
I mean, from what you were saying, that's pretty much
I was
what it
talking-
looked
Was
like.
one compared to the other?
They were basically brewed at the exact same time, just from two different locations. So because M43 is so popular, they're pushing about 1,000 barrels a week to the Brew Detroit facility so they can free up the Williamson facility to brew more Boss Tweed for some of you who like that kind of swill.
Yay.
Or, you know,
I don't
anything
have
else
a
that might
problem
come.
I don't either.
So we're actually going to be able to do this ourselves live in our Detroit studio on October 19th when we have Travis Fritz on.
Nice.
Along with the brewer from Brew Detroit who is doing the M43 at Brew Detroit. So they'll be able to break down as the people who worked on it hand in hand.
Yeah, someone who's a lot smarter than me.
Yes. I wasn't going to say that, but now that you said it, someone who's a lot smarter than you.
So Mark also told me that they have a coconut pastry stout for you.
For me.
Well, just in general. I know it's kind of a flavor.
Why just for him?
They just made it for him.
Well, merely no, but I guess there
The
weren't
whole
enough.
keg's mine. Yeah. And I don't drink beer really, so right now.
As little time to even have to get up there to get a crowler of that, I will gladly take some of that myself.
Well, anyways, so when I had the two back to back, they both tasted very similar, but there was a back end to one of the beers. So I just assumed that was what I was tasting is what Mark had planted in my head. Plus the first one just tasted meh. You know, I mean, maybe I'm just not running after New England IPAs like some people are.
I mean, you probably needed Angela there because she's probably drank the most M43 out of anyone in the state.
Well, funny story.
Having
So,
kegs in her house of M43.
Right.
so they said that they had brewed like 4 or 5 batches of this at Brew Detroit prior, and they just never got it right. But they finally figured out what they needed to do, and then they went full scale.
What did they do with the 5 batches?
Drain poured.
Oh, I hope
That would have been a sad video. Actually, so Mark said he wanted to have a Detroit only M43, like a DM43.
Uh-huh.
Not it's so like variants.
Why don't they just call it like M4 at that point? Or M1 for
M1.
M3.
Yeah.
M3.
Yeah. I don't know.
Work.
Smarter people than me. I don't know if Travis wants to keep all these SKUs plus the premises to move it.
Right.
Well, when we had Brew Detroit on, they're going to probably handle the entire distro of Detroit M43 from that brewery.
Only so they're not moving to cans yet out of Brew Detroit.
Uh-huh.
It's only going to be barrels, and it's only going to be wherever Williamston barrels can't go. So you'll
Gotcha.
never have differing liquid in the same vicinity. So the biggest thing.
Well, they have a perimeter, don't they? Like
no, it's all Imperial.
Really?
So Imperial Detroit, Imperial up in Lansing, Imperial Macomb, Kalamazoo, wherever. So they're going to can out of Williamston for the time being, and then maybe a year and a half to 2 years down the road, they might do it in Detroit.
Well, hopefully New England IPAs are still going gangbusters like
Right.
that.
I did pitch him the California Common idea, and he said he wants an ESB. So Mark did.
I was going to say, that's an easy sell to Travis.
You mean to Mark, not to Travis.
Well, Travis is the one brewing. Mark's the
Right.
one selling. Like the fact you could pitch any standard, like any good brand, not brand, I should say, any good flavor, any good profile, you could pitch it to Travis and he wants to do it. Like he wants to do those styles. That's just how he is. But when you have, again, I still think ESB's got a little bit longer before it's going to be able to
Next
come
year.
into the world.
By 2020, it'll be the New England IPA.
Oh, I would shoot the boot lock that's not going to be true at all.
Out of my boot?
I will do it out of anybody's boot.
Oh, man, I'm going to find a homeless man.
Well, that's not your boot.
You said anybody's boot.
That's true. I did say that.
You kind of
Must be the vodka.
you kind of said that.
Well, I'm drinking whiskey, so
Must be the
obviously it's not the vodka. So, in regards to the field itself, you guys have a lot of beer. You guys have a full alcohol. Like we talked about tailgating earlier. Do you have problems with people coming to the games early and kind of hanging out in that parking lot right next door? Or what about, like, you got the police right down the road? Any issues in regards to late night noise or anything like that from your stadium? Like you're the cause of it?
No to pretty much any of that. It was with the interesting thing that from spending time growing up in this area and working in Detroit, I mean, I know what our fan base is like, where we, if a game starts at 7, we might get there by, 7:20, to watch the game, 7:30 on a good night. But, for some reason, our baseball games, our gates open at 6 for a 7 o'clock game, first pitch at 7:05. We have people lining up at 5:30. And I think it's grown because of our location. If you've been there where M59 meets Van Dyke, I mean, at 5 o'clock, I mean, it's, you're backed
Goodness.
up to Quinder, at that point. I mean, it's
Tuzatuno's Liquor.
Yeah.
yeah, to Zatuna. And, but I think a lot of people enjoy getting there early, waiting. So we have, we've had marching bands out front. We put our little media station out there where we do interviews with Matt Derry. We'll interview different players and coaches before the game. We've had bands show up there. We've had, WCSX or YCD come up and they're doing something live on the radio. So, we were always doing something different out there out front because, I mean, on our Friday nights where we have our fireworks and going on, we will have, 1,000 to 1,500 fans on that little corner right there, right in front of the ballpark, at 5:30. So we have to do something to keep them entertained. We haven't had any tailgating issues, pop up. I don't know what they're doing over in Lot A over there by A-Line, but, I mean, you're also right across the street from the police station, so you're probably not tailgating over there. But we haven't heard anything back from that. As for, the end of the game and noise, the only problem that we've run into is maybe shooting our fireworks off past 10:30 on a Friday night.
Yeah.
But baseball's a tough sport to time. We actually did put our 2.5, our USPBL 2.5 into effect this year, where it's pretty much we have to have 8 innings completed in 2.5 hours before we're going to play a 9th inning, just to make sure, especially on the Friday nights, to make sure that we're done by 10 o'clock so we can have our fireworks. And to be honest with you, the fireworks that we do at the end of the game are unbelievable. I mean, it's like a good 4th of July every Friday out there. So we've had so many compliments on the fireworks.
So we're gonna take a break in a second, but we're gonna name one of our first finalists for our ticket giveaway. Jeremiah, I'm gonna put this on your shoulders.
Great.
So I need you to pick a number between 1 and 48, and I'm pulling up the Monday thread where we asked them to do hashtag your summer destination, which has been the USPBL's hashtag, to try to boost it up on Facebook at least. So Jeremiah, a number between 1 and 48.
some reason 17 is in my head, so we'll go with 17.
Well, he's going to count that, and while he does, any
That
thoughts
might take a while.
Any thoughts about buying the locker room and opening up your own bar down there for like a pre or post?
That is for sale now.
It is. Drumsticks not included.
I have the drumsticks.
No, nobody likes the drumsticks. The drums, that entire place was a bad idea. The fact that it went out of business is like the greatest thing that has ever happened to me. It's the only bar I've ever been kicked out of in my life, and that's because I got mistaken identitied. Like some girl pointed in my direction saying I was harassing her, and I'm like, I don't know who the hell you're talking about. And so I got kicked out, and then she leaves, and I'm like, thanks for getting me kicked out.
Don't ever run for Supreme Court.
Here we go.
And she's like, I didn't point at you. I'm like, well, they kicked me out because of you. Well, they bought me drinks for the rest of the night. But still,
paid
that
off at the
place.
end.
We have a winner.
So we got a winner.
Our first finalist is Kenneth Mcdonald, who's
It's a good first name.
Yep. Mentioned hashtag your summer destination.
What was he drinking?
Rogue Dead Guy Ale or Green River at Sherwood. So a lot of love for a local brewery. We will try to get out to Ken. But Ken, you have 24 hours to notice that we're noticing you, or we're completely pulling your chance for tickets. So notice us noticing you.
Yep, we'll make sure to reach out to you, especially if I don't get the show up right away. But we'll be right back. Better on Draft Podcast. And we are back. 148 Better on Draft Podcast. Still in studio, Jeremiah from the USPBL / Jimmy John's Field / a lot of other things that I'm sure is part of his title. We are drinking beers. We opened up, you opened up that Perrin beer.
That is down there.
That's the one you've been
Caribbean Nights.
There we
Yeah.
go. So, do you like that beer? You've been drinking it a lot lately.
It is a tasty brew. I do.
Here is Robert with the beer news.
Well, apparently I just wanted to get that in there right away. So, just cut you right off.
Breaking news. Good Lord.
That's what happens when I'm messing with the board and I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I've only been doing this for 148 episodes, but
146. I did too.
Oh yeah, that's right. There have been a few. I've missed more than two. I've missed maybe like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think Dan ran the board once, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
So as always with segment 2, along with Rob drinking Caribbean Nights from Perrin, we have the beer news that's going on. What is going on in the world of beer today?
A couple things. Actually, some stuff that we didn't get to cover last week because we were just kind of focused with Kickstand that we really didn't get to cover anything last week, which that's fine. We always get back to it in the next week. But a couple weeks ago, comedian Jim Gaffigan had provided his take on the craft beer world on CBS's Sunday morning program. In the video, he had stated that all local specialty beers basically just aren't good. He said in the video, quote, "Specialty beers, microbrews, craft beers made by community artisans, and I'd have to tell you, without exception, they're all bad. I don't care how creative the cute beer name is that has to do with local folklore. I don't care how beautiful the hand-drawn label is of the cactus wrestling a penguin. The main problem is, well, they don't taste like beer. I guess I'm a traditionalist. I don't want a beer that tastes like chocolate or oranges or avocados. I want a beer that tastes like, I don't know, beer." And he had put some kind of interesting questions in near the end of that video, basically saying, how did we lose our way, and are we that bored with beer? Essentially, the next day, Julia Hertz, the craft beer program director at the Brewers Association, she had a response, basically penning a letter, which in detail it basically said, "The innovation and choice in today's beer landscape is something to celebrate. For years, all beer tasted exactly the same. The U.S. beer scene had lost its way. Why? Because the industry had been consolidated and commoditized, and there were only a handful of breweries producing almost the exact same thing. Thankfully, independent craft brewers brought beer back to a local and flavor-filled place." And as you say, a beer preference is personal. for millions of beer lovers, we want something unique. And for thousands of brewers, they want to brew with something unique. You wouldn't stifle what ingredients a chef uses or the jokes a comedian tells or the roles an actor plays. It kind of went on a little bit after
but
that.
Don't you stifle all of those things? Don't you typecast actors, and don't chefs only work on specific cuisines?
I mean, Ice-T, you only see him doing two things, either being a cop or a pimp, so.
You're right with actors. I mean, we grew up in the 90s, I think, all of us.
Has anybody ever seen a movie of Tom Cruise not running?
Hold on.
Besides Cocktail. I'm sure he ran in that too, though.
Probably. But I guess my thing is that with Gaffigan being a comedian, basically putting out this letter, is the craft beer taking this too seriously? Or is this something that they truly had to do in their defense?
How does this get into a conversation in the first place? Like, who goes to Jim Gaffigan for his opinion on craft beer? Like,
I kind of feel like he pretty much puts anything and everything down. So
I remember one of his early specials earlier. I'm talking 1998, 1999, probably the first time I saw him. He's from Iowa, which kind of explains why he's not big into craft beer. But he worked at a Mexican restaurant, again, in Iowa. And he at least alleges his explanation of the food, of Mexican food, was it's tortilla with meat, cheese, lettuce, and onions. Oh, what's this?
what's a taco?
It's tortilla with meat, cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, and onions.
What's an enchilada?
It's a tortilla with meat, cheese, lettuce, and onions.
What's a tamale?
It's some sort of a tortilla with meat, cheese, lettuce, and onions.
That's the joke, folks. By the way.
Yeah. That's it. Again, Jim Gaffigan is he's a generalist. He's also the diarrhea pocket guy.
It's definitely, he's taking almost a page from the book from Dennis Leary, because this is the entire Dennis Leary bit of coffee.
I want coffee flavored coffee. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm gonna be maple nut crunch.
Mind you, Jim Gaffigan's a little cleaner, so he's not going to go off the rails. He's not going to go off the rails like Dennis Leary did.
Right.
But when you're
Dennis Leary had like a hit single, didn't he?
I believe.
I think he did. Yeah, the asshole song.
Exactly.
ASSHOLE.
Thank you, Matt.
And now he's the voice of Ford.
Yeah.
Voice of what?
He's the voice of Ford.
Is he?
All the Ford commercials. Yep.
Well, he did that one
Doing those for years.
firefighters TV show.
Yeah.
that
Rescue
everyone-
Me.
Yeah, a lot of people love that show. I've never watched
Yeah.
it, but I haven't heard anything like. Nobody's ever said it's.
I don't think it's been on in years.
I will always say that I loved him in the movie The Ref.
Have you ever seen
The Sandlot. Thank you.
Still.
Unusual Suspects?
We do that every game.
What's that?
The Sandlot.
Yeah.
The play ball where the kids yell and play ball. That's what we do at the start of all of our games.
Usual Suspects. The Stingray boots. You mean fish boots?
Give me the basket.
Give me the basket. Give me the basket.
Give me the basket.
Do you guys do a lot of like baseball movie tropes while you're doing your entertainment? Like, do you have a lot of things like the standard like 7-inning stretch and singing like "Take Me Out to the Ball Game"?
Yeah,
They do much better than that.
Okay,
Much better.
No, but we have the 7th inning stretch. I mean, the big thing that we have that is sort of our own now is I might get the artist wrong, but I think it was Swift had that "Shake It" song.
Taylor Swift?
Shake It
Shake
Off.
It Off.
We do that now, so everyone stands up and we have our dancers going as we head into the 8th inning, and it's "Shake It Off" time.
They also have, you're going to have to help me out with these, Superstars.
They've been around, man.
So Superstars are
Animal.
instead of little standard mascot outfits, they're blow up latex things, and they have like Tommy the Swordfish, Harry Canary.
Yep, Harry Canary. He's a popular one.
Well, the thing is, so they get out there and they dance, and so Tommy the Swordfish just puts his bill in people's faces constantly. Who am I missing? I know you have like 3 or 4 more.
Yeah, and they change up.
I remember seeing there was a fish that ate a human being, and the human being got burped out in just his underpants.
Yeah, he just ran out. He just ran out in his boxer shorts, with the little hearts on.
Yeah,
them.
clearly.
I'm looking at this right now because there are a lot of them.
The Yao Ming one, I forgot what its name is. But
hold on, I can definitely Yao Flamingo, Tim Tebow, Tiger Woods Chuck. And my favorite is Barack Obama.
Yes.
Thanks, Olama.
Wow. Oh my God, Clammy Sosa. This is hysterical.
Yeah.
So they get up there and they dance and shake in front of kids, and the kids love it. And I'm sure the parents are just like annoyed out of their gourd. But they do a lot of like the Tommy Lasorda, I don't know, or Swordfish. I don't know if it's just him, but he like literally pecks on people. And I think they do giveaways sometimes, like through all that stuff.
Yeah, we have different giveaways, and then there's actually a good part, and I don't know if you saw the one where we actually have one of the assistant managers, I think it was for the Unicorns, was part of the skit. And they're out there dancing, and and they extend a little bit longer, like the team's taking the field, so the assistant manager's out there like, we have to get these people off the field so we can play. Then they get in an argument, and then they turn into like a dance-off type routine. And so one's in the uniform, and one's, I think it might have been Harry Canary or something out there.
I'm very upset now before we go to the next news segment. But there's one.
Is there a Miami University player?
There is not. But there's Squidney Crosby.
Oh.
That's the one that eats a guy.
Squid the kid.
Squidney the Crosby eats somebody and burps them out.
That is some straight up guar shit right there.
That I would be so
any.
much happier if Sidney Crosby never existed in hockey.
You should
Like,
really be
I don't
more
want him
mad
to,
at
like,
Maxine
never-
Talbot or Chris Letang.
I mean, there are other people that I don't like. Like, obviously, as a Detroit player, you still harbor ill will towards Patrick Waugh.
Oh, of course.
You just Claude Lemieux. We lit Patrick up.
But we balanced that out back in the 90s, though. I mean, he had his good times against us, but I mean, we helped separate him from Montreal.
yeah.
Anyhow, I mean, what do you have? 12 goals that game? They wouldn't even pull it.
7, yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So.
What else we got in the news, Rob?
All right, real quick. Obviously, the Great American Beer Fest happened last weekend, and obviously through the awards that were given out, there were a total of 306 awards that were handed out to 280 different breweries. Just here in the state of Michigan, we had 9 awards that were handed out.
Wow, that's very spread out.
Yeah.
26 duplicates for breweries, including like we had Founders, which had 2, but only 26. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
IMO.
kind of low. I guess I was expecting a bit more, but there was one gold medal that went to the Mitten Brewing for the West Coast Swing Amber and the American Style Amber. Obviously, Founders won 2 silvers for breakfast stouts and for their porter. Wolverine State Brewing won a silver and a bronze. The silver for NZ Pills, and the Raucher for the bronze for a smoke beer, which I hate smoke beers. Bastogne got a silver for Kung Fu Smurf, which I love that name. That is pretty awesome. For a Belgian style double or quadruple. Bell's got a silver for Roundhouse.
Roadhouse.
Yeah, it's nice until it doesn't have to be nice anymore. Thorn Apple Brewing got a silver for My Brown-Eyed Girl, English style brown, which I'm sure Ken would love. Mm-hmm. And there was an additional bronze that was for Brew Detroit, winning a bronze for Cerveza Del Rey, which I do enjoy.
That is amazing beer.
That is an amazing beer.
And they have a one-off, like a lime strawberry Cerveza Del Rey, which is muy bien.
Yeah. No real big brewery winners. I think from what I saw on the list, there were 3 breweries that won 3 awards. By state, of course, California, that almost seems by default because of how many breweries they do have. California walked away with 72 out of that 306. I think Colorado was second, and maybe Florida was third. I'd have to look at it again. but California definitely walked away with it again. Other than that, what else was I going to look at? There was that's right. This was actually something I was kind of thinking about, that it would be interesting if they had something like this here. But there's a idea that is, well, it's not really an idea because it actually is being done. But it's in Colorado, where basically, we've seen the amount of pedal pubs and all the brew tours, pedal boats now.
Watch out.
And of course, those pedal pubs really drive me nuts when I'm actually trying to drive on the streets on like Washington or trying to get onto Woodward, and I have to deal with that traffic. But coming up actually on September 29th, people are going to be able to...
It's tomorrow.
That is tomorrow. They'll be going from Durango, Colorado to the Cascade Canyon, riding the Durango Brew Train. Now, this is it's an annual event. I think it actually would be pretty cool if they did this every month. But it's an event that includes a 2-hour stop for lunch, live music, local brewers on the train providing beer samples. Basically, just departs at 10 in the morning, returns just before 5 o'clock at night, and basically gives people enough time to enjoy beer and the sights. So far, it seems like every time they've done this is completely sold out, and the cost of it depends on essentially what train car you want to sit in. Standard fare is $109.
Wow.
Premium is $169. That's per person. Pretty much, I think they're already getting ready to set up for next year. So if anybody's heading out to Colorado, definitely look up the Durango Beer Train website for updates on their run for next year.
How long is this trip?
This trip is basically
8 hours?
7 hours. 7 hours. So the breweries that are attending is going to be Brew, Steamworks, Ska, Animus Brewing Company, Carver's Brewing, and they have 2 guest brewers. Those 2 guest brewers are going to be Four Peaks and Left Hand.
Okay.
And I guess I was just kind of thinking that, that is a pretty damn nice idea that they have out there. And I don't know, do we have the sites where we could pull that off here?
We could do it to Chicago and back and stop in Gary, Indiana. We have Niles, Michigan, and New Buffalo.
There you go.
Pawpaw.
I don't think we have too much in regards to trains. Like, I think definitely. I mean, we obviously have Motor City Brew Tours, who goes from just brewery hopping. But in regards to sightseeing, everything's so spread out in our state, including even up north, like with all the waterfalls and all the the beautiful areas up north.
They'd never get to North Center Brewing Company, North.
Damn,
Michigan.
I was gonna do it. He took it.
Where's North Center Brewing at?
On just south of Baseline Road on North Center Road in Northville, Michigan.
That is correct.
Well, I have an idea. There's a way to do this. So if we picked up the Amtrak in Royal Oak, took it down to Detroit, and then over to Dearborn, and then did it in the reverse, you could do that.
But I guess the problem I have with that is you're on a train. What is there to see on a train between Royal Oak to Dearborn?
Nothing.
To
you give just samples, and you have live music, and you give samples out.
Well, at that point, you're just better off doing what Steven Johnson does over on the Princess, and that's having a little boat cruise with.
Wait, what's that? When's that?
When is it? I can look it up right now.
I would
don't know
love
if
to be a
it
part of
happened.
that.
It's happened a few times already. But yeah, they host a little beer festival on the Detroit Princess, and obviously goes up and down the Detroit River. So.
That would be fantastic. I would love to consume on that.
That could have been something we could have done before the Boblo boat went up and smoked.
Ooh,
Too soon?
that
Never too soon.
I definitely. So every once in a while, I learn from my family about different things, and I learned that. My grandmother's brother, so my great uncle, was the captain of that boat.
It was a great boat.
And I'm like, that's just such a weird thing to know about my family. It's just like, all right, that's interesting. I never met the guy, but it's nice to know that we have some type of lineage. I do not see the. Oh, here we go. Boattoberfest.
Oh, wow.
Boattober.
Don't threaten me with a good time, as they say in the biz.
You will be busy that night.
Is it Nick's wedding?
It is Nick's wedding, October 6th.
All right, well, hey, I'm just going to shout. I know you listen, so Steven Johnson.
He's actually, I believe he's watching.
Okay,
'cause
wait.
Nick is watching.
Nick's watching or Nick?
Oh,
Johnson?
hold on. Time out.
Oh.
Time out. What time is this festival is the question we should have asked.
Is it like midnight? That'd be awesome.
It's at 11:30 in the morning.
Oh, I could skip the church ceremony. I could be lobbied away from the church. Drive to 24 and Romeo Plank, or drive to the boat. I could be.
So this is going to be October 6th. We'll give you a little plug, Steven Johnson. Also, go check out his show on Better on Draft called The Beer Tour Guy. It includes, with a $62 ticket, it includes obviously the boat ride, 15 4-ounce samples, appetizers, the cruise. It does not come with the DD. It says it right here on that page. And then it also says it includes lunch. So appetizers,
And lunch. Wow.
and 15 sample drinks for $62.50. That is going to be on the Detroit Princess Riverboat, going up and down, obviously, the Detroit River, starting at 11:30. The cruise begins at noon and redocks at 2 o'clock.
It's a lot of beer and food real quick.
Yeah.
2.5
I'll
hours.
tell you what, Steven Johnson, you need to call me next summer, and I'm going to come hang out, and we're gonna do an event. The Better on Draft Detroit Princess Takeover. We could be like pirates and just be like the Pirates of the Detroit River.
Nah, that doesn't work.
Yo ho ho, and a bottle of barrel aged rum.
Rum barrel aged dragon's milk.
There we go. Bam.
There you go. There you go. All right. Straight from the International House of whatever the fuck they want to call themselves these days. They just could not leave well enough alone.
Are they just
Is this the pancake beer?
This is. So of course they wanted to mess around with their name, and then they wanted to troll on places that make better burgers, like White Castle and Chinese restaurants that have burgers for picky eating kids.
hold on? Are you just like shitting on their burgers?
I mean,
in general,
I honestly, I think I would rather have a burger from a Chinese restaurant.
have you ever had an IHOP burger?
Yes.
And it just
I tell you what. So growing up in Troy,
Yeah.
Wong's Garden has an amazing cheeseburger.
It just sounds right.
Over at 19 and John R.
yeah.
I used to. I've worked at 2 different places over there. I used to work at a Singular store selling cell phones and pagers because Singular.
Yep.
Right.
And then I also worked as a barista over there.
Okay.
So I used to sell coffee right next door. So you could go get your Asian food, and then you can go get your coffee, and then go home.
I mean,
You
yeah.
hook you up with a cool pager before coffee was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I have things to say, but it's just not appropriate. So let's just keep it going. So,
All right. So as Jeremiah had alluded to, that IHOP is coming out with a beer. This is in partnership with Keegan Ales. They're a brewery that's based in Kingston, New York. Basically, IHOP is introducing IHOPs, which for their flavor profile, appropriate for the fall season, it is going to be a pumpkin spice pancake stout. Actually, not really going to be, because it's actually already bottled.
but
and
there's
it's-
no hops in that.
I would imagine that it's a stout. There has to be some form of not the pancake hop. I don't know.
What hop fits best with pancake?
I don't know.
That would
So
have been a good question for Kickstand last week.
I was
He
kind
would have kicked me and left.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of going around through the website that was describing it. It basically said pumpkin pancake stout that combines IHOP's pancakes, pumpkins, maple syrup, and other pancake ingredients to create an innovative new flavor profile. And the plan is to blow your mouth's mind by bottling that warm and fuzzy feeling of pancakes just in time for fall.
But isn't that like what CBS is? It's like bacon and syrup and stout.
Just missing the pancake.
Yeah, just missing a pancake. I mean,
Are you even? Are you really missing the pancake?
I mean, I guess if you make pancakes and then you just take the CBS, throw it in a pot with some sugar, and make some syrup out of it, I don't know.
So if you put pour some
buttermilk
sugar
in there?
on,
Oh,
CBS.
Yeah,
Matt,
you Matt got muted for
yeah,
that
thank
one.
you. So the beer is not being distributed outside of New York. You can find locations on IHOP's website for bars and events that are happening around in the Metro NYC area.
So it's a limited edition ISO whale.
It is.
Is it
it
really?
Oh,
is.
goodness.
I don't know. I'm just assuming there might be a whale out there.
I couldn't find any information as far as an ABV on it.
They don't want you to.
But I did. I was trying to find it anywhere. I looked up Untapped. I went on Beer Advocate. And Untapped was the only place that actually saw that somebody checked in with it, and there were like 29 ratings. It was an average of 3.8 out of 5. 3.8. There were some 5s in there. They were like, "This is exactly what I expected," and they
must not have been expecting too much.
Or it was just a perfect pumpkin spice pancake stout, which just saying that out of my mouth feels like dirty and unwanted.
I mean, I don't know. I just it's more pumpkin spice. I mean,
the pumpkin's a little overboard nowadays, I think.
That's what I think is that
I have the ABV, by the way.
Oh.
4.9.
No.
I was thinking more like 6.2.
7%.
Wow.
I was talking to Dane over at Eastern Market because I was getting the beer list, and they were going to do a pumpkin spiced their white coffee stout and call it the basic batch. And I said, you need to run with that. That's a better name than I could even come up with.
That is acceptable. Dane, make it happen. Make that happen. That would have been. I probably would have been mad just trying to drink that.
I think the issue is that a lot of people will want to drink it just because of the name or just because of the style. Because as much as we're all making fun of it, it's going to sell, and that's
But I mean, again, these brewers are still in the business of making money, so you have to market to those basic
I'm
batches.
curious who IHOP got to contract to make this beer.
Right.
That was Keegan Ales.
Keegan Ales.
Keegan
okay.
Ales,
I don't
yeah.
even know who Keegan Ales is.
Is it a person or is that a brewery?
That's a brewery.
Now, do they have any other famous beers, or are they a contract brewer? Or?
That I don't know.
I'm looking it up right now for you.
That I do.
So
not
it looks
know.
like they are their own small little tap room. It doesn't look like they are a production facility. So I'm assuming they just made the beer, and that's kind of it. There ain't much else on here.
Would you guys have a pumpkin spiced pancake stout on tap for the maybe early Sunday games? Brunch at the ballpark.
If it sells and fits in, but I mean our champion. I mean our last game's September 9th.
That's what I was going to
I
say.
mean, it just doesn't. I mean, like when we had CBS and KBS, they lasted a lot longer than I thought they would, just because of the time. And you brought up a good point. If you would have left that and then maybe tap that in when we're doing our brew fest, I mean, they'd be going like hotcakes.
Yeah.
I mean, especially a month. I mean, CBS is. I think we all know that's coming back out in November again, right?
Yep.
Which is, a yay and a kind of a bummer, because you kind of enjoyed the waiting game, but now if it's going to come out every year, it kind of dampers it,
I mean, you got to make money, San Miguel is.
I'm going to be honest. I just don't care about waiting for beers anymore. Like, if it doesn't launch again, it doesn't launch again. And if it does and I don't get it, I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many good beers out there now. And what was interesting, I was looking at the winners of all of the New England Juicy Hazy IPA stuff from GABF.
Yeah.
No breweries you would think would be on there were on that list for all three variants, because you had the Juicy Pale, the Juicy IPA, and the Juicy Double IPA.
I mean, everybody considers, Treehouse and Trillium as gods.
Absolutely not on the list. There was 2 from Chicago, 1 from Vegas for the standard IPA. So
Wow.
that is what we are looking at when we're talking about, we're living in our own bubble. Like, we're definitely sniffing our own farts. Yeah.
So before we go to a second quick break, Jeremiah, I have to ask you about a number between 1 and 14 this time.
Wow. The first time is a much.
Well, you can't pick
gap.
17 again.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I can't. I mean, I'm 3 over if I'm them. I'm playing like U.S. in the Ryder Cup if I do that.
This isn't a golf show.
They weren't good. Let's go with 4.
Jenn King, who won our scavenger hunt last time.
What up,
Jen?
Jen?
Come on down. You are another finalist for our free ticket giveaway. You seem to be the apple of our proverbial contestant eye. So, Jenn King, you will also be getting a finalist ticket. So,
we'll be right back. Better on Draft Podcast. And we are back, episode 148, Better on Draft Podcast. In just a week, we're actually going to be having our 3-year anniversary.
3 years.
3 years doing the show, nearly every Friday night or Sundays after beer festivals. We are going to be having Drafting Table on next week, I believe, right?
Man.
Right?
Yes,
Drafting Table. I'm like,
yes,
like,
we are.
Nobody said anything
Yes.
back. I'm like, yeah, Drafting Table. That's right.
Yes,
so we're going to
are.
be having Drafting Table on. And as I mentioned, on the 19th, we're going to have Old Nation and Brew Detroit. The following week, so between Brew Detroit and Old Nation and Drafting Table, we're actually going to have Sheboygan Brewing on the show.
You know what happens in between those things?
We're
having a beer fest and
That's
shit.
right, a beer fest. A beer fest on the 13th.
On the 13th, Saturday, October 13th,
Jimmy
at
John's
Jimmy John's
Field.
Field, 4 to 9 p.m. Hurry up and buy your tickets before they sell out. It may sell out. We're going to only have about 1,000 tickets. We're giving away some. You can also go to J1 Express Utica at Holiday Market, Royal Oak, as well as the Tuna Liquor, who are also giving away a pair of tickets. You'll want to hashtag your summer destination and tag them in on it, and we will know next week who all of our winners are for the event. So it'll be lively. We'll be there. We have our game that we started last week.
that you're going to fix.
I don't know if it needs fixing.
It needs a little fixing. I felt very rigged as the wheel continued to always, no matter what, land on me. So
I'll put a weight on each corner then.
You need to update your carpentry skills.
I have no carpentry skills.
But also next week, we're going to be giving away a pair of tickets. VIP tickets, enthusiast type tickets to either the fall or the winter beer fest coming up for the Michigan Brewers Guild. Your choice of Friday or Saturday. So you can choose either the fall or the winter, Friday or Saturday. So here's a chance to secure your Saturday Winter Beer Fest tickets. You don't have to wake up early, get in line. You get in with the enthusiasts. So you get in 1 hour before everyone else does. You get to try all the beers you want. They have special tappings, of course, during that time too. So you can make fun of your friends who just buy regular tickets and aren't enthusiasts as part of the Brewers Guild. And yeah, have a lot of fun. But with always, segment 3...
It's
five questions with the Matt Bush of Matt Bushes.
Matt Bush latte.
I don't know if I feel good how I feel good about that. Yeah, do you like the shirt?
Yes.
The latte.
Bush
Latte. I didn't even notice you're wearing the Bush latte. I just assumed it was a Bush shirt.
I think it was the C. It just threw us off. You know, that one has a C and he doesn't.
Yeah, you are correct. That is fantastic. Rob kind of touched on this, but I can only find the stats from 2017. These 5 states had the most medals won in the Great American Beer Fest.
These 5 states had the most medals won
in the Great American Beer Fest.
So obviously California. They know how to party.
Colorado.
Correct. Those are the top 2.
So California, Colorado. I'm gonna go with Ohio.
Wrong.
Really?
Ohio did have a few, but we're
going
were
2017.
2017.
The stats for 2018 weren't as.
Yeah,
easily
it was.
accessible.
I was trying to figure that out, and then it just wouldn't import to Excel, and I just said, "All right, I'm just gonna."
So,
got so frustrated.
All right, so hold on. Obviously, California, Colorado. If we're talking,
I'm going to give you 5 more guesses. You need 3 answers correct.
3 answers. Let's do.
What about Florida?
No, I wouldn't even go with Florida. I'd go with New York over Florida. Well, we got 5 guesses.
Oh, wait a minute. Duh. I mean, why not Texas? It's big enough.
Texas. All right, we'll go with Texas.
Correct.
Number 3. What number was that on the list?
That was number 3.
That was number 3. All right, so we got 4 and 5.
So you're in. You've got it in a row so far.
So I would think next up on the list would be one of the Northwest states.
Oregon or Washington?
I mean, Portland's got Rogue and a few others.
Rogue's also in Washington.
Oh, Rogue's in Washington. Let's go with Washington. I'm just gonna.
Wrong.
Damn. Okay. 0 for 1. 0 for 1. Yeah, I got that one. It got me. So we got Texas, Colorado, California. I don't think Michigan's up there.
I kind of don't think so either.
Because I mean, with 20, that might be close, but I think that's cutting it too close. I think New York's probably one, and I think maybe Vermont is probably another one. I think New York just because of size too. Well, I got one wrong, so let's get Jeremiah. What do you think?
Name a state that makes good beers.
Hey,
What is this, Family Feud now?
Living out east, New Hampshire and Vermont do have really good beer for the IPA, the New England style IPA.
Well, New England was not last year, so I knew that.
Yeah. So I don't know whether that puts it, but I would almost go with New York or then head down south like Florida just on size, but probably New York.
Wrong. Strike three. Well,
strike two.
3 out of 5.
Yeah.
So we have used. We need to go perfect to close this out.
So no New York.
You were close earlier.
With when he was going between
Oregon or
Oregon and
Probably
Washington.
Oregon.
Oh, so Oregon?
Correct.
So Oregon.
Now let's see if you
I
can
got
get.
set up for that.
You did.
Jeremiah
You
was
did.
right. I was framed.
I didn't follow on it though. I should have just said
Let's
Oregon
see
afterwards.
if you can do this. The 5th state with the most medals.
I feel like we're playing Greed with Chuck Woolery right now.
Closer to Card Sharks.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be something stupid like Michigan,
It's
even
probably
though
Michigan.
it's only like they only won like maybe like 12 or 13. I have no idea.
I mean, is Illinois possible?
For what?
I don't know. I'm just throwing a good one out there.
I don't
just
think Stone's officially in Illinois.
California.
Yeah, the Stone's San Diego. Oh,
Indiana?
no,
O'Reilly's?
no. I'm just.
Boomerang effect.
I mean, it was either that or.
Oh no, we don't need the right touch.
I was thinking of what's in the middle,
Oh, the white stuff.
the white stuff, Oreo.
That's racist.
Why has it got to be white?
Here we go again.
North Carolina. Damn it!
Oh,
It is the state that has the best show that Ken hates. Filmed
So
inside of it.
Philadelphia.
The
So it's
Office.
The Office.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
It's always sunny in Philadelphia is in Pennsylvania too.
That was always sunny in Detroit.
All right, question
That's
number
just for
2.
the Detroiters. All right, so we got like 4/5.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So we got 0.8 points.
80%. That's passing. That's a B.
So apparently there's a
These
new
get degrees
there's a new alcohol delivery app.
in Michigan or period.
In general.
Okay,
Did we know this?
There's a lot of them already.
Okay.
You got Drizzly. You got Shipped in Michigan.
Shit,
you got,
fine. The answer is Drizzly. All right, well,
All right. I think we're at a B minus now.
I
Or an
use
A-minus.
every time I go to Dallas, I use Drizzly, and a lot of people have stopped using apps now and just offer their own delivery service. So when we were in the convention I go to is in a dry city. And we drink so much booze there. So we learned like the laws and stuff, and we now know where there's this liquor store, and they have a minimum delivery of $500 to do delivery by themselves. We blow it out of the water every night, because you got to think there's probably 3,000 to 4,000 of us there. So if we're all buying a 6-pack or a 5th for a group of people,
adds up real easy.
we can easily
just
get
bring
to
the store over,
500.
close it down, turn the lights off.
Yeah.
Make it a store on wheels.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is that so they brought it there, and then they wanted us to pick it up in the lobby, and I'm like, no. Start to finish, and the finish is my room.
All right, so you have a beer in front of you.
We do,
Yeah.
yes.
Is a 3.88 out of 5 in a 6.8% ABV.
Ooh.
And I read, this is one of the greatest brews I've ever had. Poured inside of a chilled beer glass. Its
Who does
appearance
that?
is a dark brown tint, almost as if it were a soda. The top of the head just lingers and it's smooth. There seems to be an essence of these flavors. Goes down smooth, refreshing. The top starts to wear off as minutes go by, but it has a soft, sweet, subtle taste. The aroma is majestic, especially when consuming it. It has a wonderful smell.
This guy having sex with him?
I put my dick in it. The taste is as small as a true mouthfeel. Refreshing. This is one of the
Not in that
finest
cup, right?
brews in the state of Michigan. If you happen to grab it, if you happen to see it, grab it. I promise you won't ever disappoint.
Sounds like something I would say. I'm not gonna. Oh no, I wouldn't go that far in regards to the.
I didn't actually. It actually doesn't say I'd put my dick in it, or I'd let them put my dick in me.
I dip my balls in it.
Because usually, like, what I would end. I would end a a thing like, "Hey, you should buy this," or "You shouldn't buy this." So I'm gonna dip the camera.
So we
the
have
beer.
3 questions, in which to. And so Google Maps wants me to go to Jamex right now. So maybe I just have a trend after the
You
show.
seem to be having a pattern, according to Google.
Is there smoke in there?
So we know it's a Michigan beer. We know it's a malt flavor. We know it's this person's favorite beer. It's definitely a. To be honest, it tastes almost like a light porter. Like it's not a hoppy porter or a brown.
Very light though.
Very.
So you bleeped out, obviously on purpose, this flavor. You said
Yeah.
something about malts. What was the malt phrase?
A true malt feel as refreshing as the brewery is. As this brew is extremely potent with a 6.8% ABV.
Okay. So, for those of you unfamiliar with 5 questions, during question 3, we actually get to ask 3 questions to try to figure out what this beer is. We have to ask yes or no questions.
Close-ended questions.
Close-ended questions. We can ask anything from directional to if it's a specific brewery or maybe what year it was poured. There's a lot of things that we can do with this beer. Right now, I think we've kind of labeled it down to porters / brown ale. In regards to the malts, it's definitely not a stout. It's not as sweet as a stout would be.
More heavy.
I mean, I'm enjoying it, which is why I'm more lingering towards a brown ale. It looks way too dark to be an alt beer, to get that really malt forward type flavor. So I'm going to bring up the map real quick. Now, you guys can go to betterondraft.com/MI beer map to see all of the breweries inside the state of Michigan, as well as all of the border breweries, the breweries that are close to the state that you might be able to get to depending on where you are. We also have all of the upcoming breweries on the map. You'll see them as little yellow dots.
And closed breweries.
And closed breweries, yes. You can see the closed breweries in there. We also separate breweries that are production only, just so you don't show up there looking to drink when you can't.
But maybe you'll get a tour.
So as someone suggested to me to put in, I believe, Starving Artist from Ludington. And I'm like, they're production only, which is why you can't see them unless you turn that on. So definitely check that out. So we are going to go with question number 1, and I am going to cut the state right in half. Using the road 127.
Yep.
And is this going to be east of 127?
No.
So it is west of 127. So that means that we've eliminated basically all Detroit beers, all East Lansing beers, not Lansing beers. We still have Kalamazoo. We still have Grand Rapids.
Traverse City.
Douglas, Saugatuck. So there are still a lot of beers, but it does at least break it down a little bit. That's one of those, like, you ever play Guess Who, and you have to ask, like, is the person a female?
Does he look like a bitch?
Does he look like...
Does he look?
So,
You almost want to follow the highways on this one. Is it north or south of 96?
So
we do play that game.
I mean, we do end up doing that every now and then, without a doubt.
I mean, 96 goes around Grand Rapids, though. So really, that only takes away Traverse City. What I think we need to do is...
But technically, Founders is, what, south of... Oh, that's south of 696, but in between 96, right?
Well, Founders would be complicated because there's 2 different locations.
Yeah, but you didn't say it was east of...
so you have one.
right.
I suppose you're right. Yeah, I'm just kind of going
downtown.
So you've got like Atwater, Knickerbocker, which is New Holland, Harmony Hall, Bob's, Fountain Hill, all the New Haven stuff, Grand Rapids Beer Co. So most of the Grand Rapids breweries are actually south of 96. Now you got me saying 696.
Well, it does break off there if you know Grand Rapids. So.
All right, so I've got a really good question, and I think this will help us a lot.
I want to guarantee. I'm going to stump you on this one.
You think so?
I'm 99% confident.
Okay.
Unless you natty daddy this one out of your ass again.
I do that every once in a while. Is this brewed in a city with 2 or more names in the name of the city? And we're not talking like
so. St. Clair Shores would have more than one.
3.
That's also east.
Clinton Township would be 2, not to be confused with Clinton. But like,
so Grand Rapids has 2.
Traverse City has 2.
So your question is.
Is the brewery this is brewed in have 2? The city
is
that the brewery
located in a city that has more? There's 2 words or more in the name of the city.
It does not have 2 or more words in its name.
All right, so now we lose Grand Rapids, we lose Traverse City, we lose Grand Haven.
Well, you guys are getting kind of deep and desperate on this one.
But we still have Kalamazoo.
We still have Kalamazoo.
We still have Marshall, and we still have Saugatuck.
We have Dark Horse.
Douglas.
We have Bells.
That's still the same thing.
No, Battle Creek is Dark Horse is Battle Creek.
No, Dark Horse is Marshall.
Oh,
Thank you for telling us
Marshall.
it's not Dark Horse.
Okay, yeah.
Appreciate that one.
Thanks. Yeah.
That eliminates that. So this is a brown ale.
It must be Bells.
I think
Bell's Best is out. That's not a bad.
See, and the problem is we've only got one question left. So, I mean, do we use that question? We've already cut it in half east-west. Do we cut it in half again north-south?
I'm drinking this more. It doesn't taste like a brown, or unless it's an American brown, it tastes more like a porter. Kalamazoo Porter, maybe? Like, it's got that malt forward as a brown, but it's way too bitter, like, on that back end to be a brown ale, unless, again, it's American. But Bell's Best is not American brown. Bafo is not. Oh, no, Bafo is, what do you call it? Bonfire is what I'm thinking of. Bonfire is from Saugatuck. Bafo's from Dark Horse. Damn, I'm a little stumped. I'm guessing. What was the porter that won the GABF medal?
That was Founders Porter.
That's in Grand Rapids. Damn it. All right. So we have a third question. So I mean, we definitely broke it down really hard, but I really think we're gonna get stumped here. It's 3.88 out of 5. It's a malt forward beer. I mean, what are you guys thinking? Are you guys like? I'm torn between porter and brown just because there's so many flavors that act like a brown, but it's just not like.
I'm thinking it's a brown. I don't know. It's not that. It's just light.
It's just, yeah, and I'm kind of thinking just from the geographical standpoint, because since we've eliminated to the point where it is a city that is a one-word city, so that leaves just kind of like I guess for me, kind of the major players in the state: Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Marquette, because Black Rocks makes a brown.
All right, so
Why'd we eliminate Dark Horse again?
because he thought it was in Battle Creek and not Marshall, and therefore his answer of the 2 or more. Yeah. I honestly think this is going to be. I think it's a Bell's beer. I think that's a very, very good.
I think it is too.
Is this a Bell's beer? Question number 3. No. At that point, Black Rock's brown is way too sweet. Like, I love that beer, and that's way too sweet. So I'm thinking this has to be Bonfire Brown, or that's it. I mean, I mean,
is there anything from Pigeon Hill?
Not in a
There's
brown
a brewery.
ale.
There's a city.
I think OCP is a brown, but
yeah, that's kind of sweet on the end
yeah.
too.
There's a city that you haven't mentioned yet, though, as well.
A city we haven't mentioned yet.
A one-word city.
That's west of.
It's near Traverse City. There's a stone that's named after it.
Petoskey.
Petoskey. Super Trooper. I think that's the name of it. Or no, Brown Note. No, Brown Note's the
Brown Note's
against the grain.
Against the grain, right.
I didn't mean to point you in that direction. I'm just saying, just pointing things out.
I mean,
I
haven't.
like the bonfire though, just because it had, like I mentioned, that smoke in there a little bit. And I had that. I picked that up early.
I'm gonna leave it to you because really,
I think we're just gonna have to bite the bullet, probably get it wrong, and say it's bonfire from Saugatuck Brewing. It's a can, so it's definitely not.
I kind of felt it was a can because of how much he poured. Are you?
Oh my god! It is brown.
Coconut Brown from Black Rock Brewing Company.
This does not. Is this trunk age? I taste zero sweetness.
Last
zero
package,
coconut.
7.2 of 18.
Do you guys taste coconut at all in this?
No,
I don't taste any sweetness at all.
That the word coconut is the word I omitted in the description.
Well, it wouldn't have helped because
Coconut Brown.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you guys didn't even include the Upper Peninsula. So I was like, I knew I was.
Well, that's why I was saying Black Rock because I said Black Rock, and I'm like,
that's the end.
I'm like 127. It only cuts off, that eastern
75.
point of 75.
It's a good beer.
All right, so question number 4. I put this. I'm starting this new thing of asking questions every Friday, and last Friday it actually took off. What do you think is the most overrated beer in Michigan right now?
Oh,
Jeremiah, we're gonna lead off with you.
I don't know.
Most overrated beer
In Michigan.
Most overrated beer.
Well, I mean, I think that would have to be something that I've had. So I can't go against drafting table on what we were talking about before with that whole mean mellow, but because I've never had it. But I mean that was off the charts. I mean that was setting records for most popular beer. I don't know. For me, and maybe because I'm not at that level, but I'm just not a fan of Two Hearted that much. So
that's what I was gonna say.
I mean,
I'll come up with something else.
and I hear it all the time. Even when we go out of state, it's like, oh, Two Hearted this, Two Hearted that, and I'm just like, I'm not into it. Maybe, and that's just my choice and the flavor that I drink. But I think that one would be mine. Would be Two Hearted.
Robert, with the heartbreak news.
With the heartbreak news. Most overrated beer. I kind of feel like I'd have to say, even though, I mean, you look at Beer Advocate, and I think it is, to date, it is still the #1 rated beer in the state of Michigan, and that's CBS.
Ooh.
I think CBS is good, but I think with the beer that was bottled last year, I thought it was all right. I mean, I didn't think it was of the quality that I was used to having when I would go up to Founders for like KBS releases. It just, for me, it was just like everybody went crazy for it, and then I got it, and I was all excited, and I was just like, well, this isn't what I was thinking I was going to get.
KBS or CBS still ranks probably #1 in my book of beer. So that I mean, but from 2011 to 17, we grow older, our taste buds change, I think, a little bit. So I think it's hard to put those two together.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what won it back to me was actually, and Kevin was there, we sat down and this was when it first came out. This was back in, like early December. A KBS and a CBS together, and it was CBS hands down. When I drank them next to each other, which not a lot of people get that opportunity to do that unless they go and buy the bottles.
Yeah,
and
you're
they hold
fancy,
on to
huh?
What?
You're all fancy.
I thought it was that night, but then it was like, oh wait, CBS is coming out again. But it's But I really enjoy CBS. But to each their own.
Ken, are you still thinking in yours or?
So I was gonna say Two Hearted, but obviously since he Jeremiah took it, I will definitely go with something else. And I'm going to go a little off the wall, especially for the last 2 batches that I've had, and I have not enjoyed any of the bottles that I've had. And for those of you who are like, oh, give me your bottles, I will definitely give you my bottles.
Oh.
And that is Bell's Black Note.
Wow. Hot take.
He ain't wrong.
Have not had a good Black Note in a long time. And I think it's still overly hyped for what it is. I think it's overly priced for what it is. And there are much, much, much better barrel-aged stouts.
Their barrel-aged Expedition is better than Black Note right now.
That's actually a really good beer.
I'm gonna shit on a bunch of people. I think it's Boss Tweed.
Boss Tweed.
What?
Maybe I didn't get into.
It did lose to Wicked Smot in our New England IPA challenge.
Maybe I just didn't get into the whole double IPA thing. But I just think Boss Tweed is more hype than it is holler. And I'm pretty sure Angela would shiv me from across the table.
You get the Mark.
We had Mark Daniels in the channel. His vote for most overrated all-day IPA from Founders.
Okay,
there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of love for that beer.
Shots fired.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of love for that beer. So anything falls short of that.
I think Centennial is a better beer than all-day IPA.
That's just because you like Centennial hops.
No, I don't, because I don't like Two Hearted.
Right?
The last question is probably the most important of the night. As those following us know,
I do not know where the body's hidden.
As those of
just
us,
bring up Jimmy
back to
Hoffa
Hoffa
again?
again.
As those great fans that know that I've been drinking hot fries and before that dehydrated plums. Nick lost this week and conveniently didn't show up today.
Let's put the camera on Nick's seat.
Yeah.
So
not here.
What do we French press into a beer next week that we make Nick drink the night before of his wedding?
But that's the thing. I mean, he's not supposed to know this until it shows up.
I bet you $100 he won't listen to this. So it doesn't
He's
matter.
listening right now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. So you could just pay him right now.
We didn't shake on it
because I can show you that Nicholas Paglia has joined the.
He was on. I guess if it were me picking this, I think what I would do.
Why don't you nominate 2 flavors for Ken? Because you won last week, right?
I did win last week.
Because I sat Calvin Ridley on the bench, which was good.
Oh, and I did the same thing.
And I sat Cooper Kupp last night as well.
Oh, okay, no.
so had a really good time with
that was like a double whammy for you.
And I had Tom Brady starting instead of Deshaun Watson, and as we know, Tom Brady didn't do anything.
The only good choice I made was I started Mahomes over Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Mahomes is a dirty man.
Yes.
Rob, so we need a couple flavors from you, maybe 3 if you can think.
All right, so I'm thinking of.
I already know what I'm doing, so I
don't even know the guy.
I would want to at least. If I were to do this, I always feel like I'd feel bad, and I want to at least give somebody somewhat of a quality beer. And then just, give them nothing but instant regret afterwards, because then it's like it just takes that quality beer just out of their complete palate for maybe the next 3-4 months. So I think I would probably go with, I think I would use like a Shorts Huma and French press that with, oh jeez. I don't know, maybe just like black licorice.
Black licorice with Shorts Huma.
Yeah.
Like Jaeger Huma.
Is that like a craft Jaeger bomb?
So
craft Jaeger.
I would, because I've seen him bring it multiple times, Mayan Mocha Stout.
If I could find a bottle of that.
I can hook you up with that.
I have
Hey, Wes, like a brother.
Yeah, I still have that from you, Wes.
I have a barrel aged bottle still.
And what I would, or chocolate mint decadent from
Double Decadent over.
Oh, come on, he likes that one.
Mint Double Decadent.
And I would French press it with a California roll.
Oh, man, he likes that beer.
Sushi, bitch.
Damn.
So,
like Kroger
No, I would go.
Would you actually go and like get some quality sushi, or would
I mean,
you just,
it's Michigan, so there's no salt water around us, so that's kind of hard to say. But yeah, there's a place in Grosse Pointe that I go to that has good sushi, so I'd go get some solid sushi. I mean, there's places here in Royal Oak with.
Oh wait.
We're close to Madison Heights. There's plenty.
Is the soy sauce, wasabi, or ginger added to this?
Oh no, I could do a Philadelphia roll though, where it would be cream cheese in it.
Oh damn! Sorry, bro.
So, one of our fans.
Is it Nick?
No, suggested tobacco. Mint chocolate chip with KBS.
Mint chocolate chip tobacco with KBS?
Mint
Well,
chocolate?
no,
we're
tobacco,
doing 3 things.
comma, mint chocolate chip as the French pressed with the KBS.
Okay. I don't know if that would be bad.
I think that would make him sick. The tobacco for a guy who
Well, the
doesn't.
tobacco's not good with that.
Yeah.
So he has to pick one flavor though. I think
Tobacco or mint chocolate chip?
yeah, one or the other.
Yeah.
What about Superman ice cream and KBS? That wouldn't even make sense. That'd be great.
That might be good.
I mean,
I
remember,
might actually do that.
we are the group that did Kentucky Beast Stout, where
Yes,
we
we
mixed
did.
KBS and Milwaukee's best here. Jeremiah cringes.
Dad was like, "This is great."
We did it in front of Kevin too, didn't we?
I think so.
I'm
Maybe we
pretty
did.
sure he
I
was
wasn't
here.
here.
Maybe we did. I don't know.
Did Kevin cringe as well?
I think he was like,
Or just laugh.
I think he tasted a little bit of it, and it just kind of happened. So Nicholas next week, his beer of choice is going to be Ice House,
With or
Ice.
without the edge.
without the edge.
Okay.
And the French press
Oh, you got to leave that, don't you? Don't you have to not tell?
will be decided next week. That's going to do it for us, Better on Draft podcast. You can go check out.
We need one more number from
one more
Jeremiah.
number for not. Okay.
1 and 48.
1 and 48.
Between 1 and 48.
37.
There we go.
Jack.
I don't know what that is yet, so we'll get to that
Maybe
later.
count from the bottom.
You're welcome, 37.
All right. So while he's doing that, don't forget to check out our sponsors: Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills, North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan.
Support Jack.
Yeah, go bug Jack. You can go get tickets over with Jack over at Zatuna J1 as well as Holiday Market. Don't forget to go to our website, betterondraft.com/MI Beer Map to see all of our beer, as well as you can see us live each and every Friday night on Facebook Live. Join the conversation just like we did with Cameron Barnett, Mark Daniels, and a few others. Kevin DeVries was in there earlier. We also had Johnny
Ardeno.
that one. I can't read it because the angle of the laptop. Ryan Scott was also in there. Thank you all for joining us. Number 37, Matthew, is
Sorry, he can't.
going to
Todd
be
Arnold.
Todd Arnold. All right, so we will be reaching out to you guys very, very shortly to make sure you are aware of what's going on. Don't forget to go to our Beer Fest. We got a Beer Fest coming up October 13th.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
Saturday the 13th, 4 to 9, Jimmy John's Field. Check it out. We will be there. We are part of the hosting crew. We're going to be doing a live show out there, interviewing, playing games, giving away tickets to have an extra libation or two. And that's going to do it. Jeremiah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Go check them out next year, obviously, for the USPBL. Go games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays.
Yes.
And no matter what you think of your beer, we think it's
Better on Draft.
Better on Draft. Have a good night.
Peace.